Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my biggest book haul ever. Not just on this channel, but just in life. I think this is my biggest book haul ever. I went used bookstore shopping today, and I went both to my library, which has a used book sale, and then a used bookstore in my area, and they were having massive clearance deals, which I'll get into, and I was able to scoop up a ton of mystery novels. So let's go and hop into our first book. So our first book is none other than the one that everyone keeps talking about, and that is Finlay Donovan is Killing It, and this is written by Elle Cosimano. And this book's definitely, it's a little beat up. As you'll see in this haul, these are definitely very much used, well-loved books. They're definitely a little worse for wear. So Finlay Donovan is at lunch one day with her agent talking about her latest suspense novel's plot, which involves a contract killer. And basically someone overhears her and mistakenly thinks that Finlay Donovan is a contract killer and hires her to take out their husband, basically, or something along those lines. So it sounds really fun. It sounds like a really interesting situation to be in. I think it's supposed to be pretty comedic. I think it's supposed to be fairly cozy, and I just love this cover. I think it's so much fun. I know the third book I think in this just came out, and I know a lot of people are really enjoying it, so I just want to get on the bandwagon with this and get reading it. So this next one I was really excited because I got it for $1 at my library, and this is the Miss Marple Complete Short Stories Collection by Agatha Christie. So this has all 20 short stories that Agatha Christie ever wrote featuring Miss Marple. I do own an Hercule Poirot short story collection, which is the complete collection, but I don't have any Miss Marple short stories. I am working on getting into short stories more this year, but since I already love Miss Marple so much, I know this will be easier to get into, and maybe this will help me just find a good rhythm with reading short stories more often. And I just love Miss Marple, and I didn't know this, but there's actually a Christmas themed one. It's called A Christmas Tragedy, so I'll probably save that for Christmas time, or at least November or so this year. But I'm really excited for this, and I love the cover. I think this is such a vivid, bright color. It is a little bit beat up, but I think this will look so pretty on my shelf as well, which maybe isn't a reason to buy a book necessarily, but it definitely helps, right? And it's just really cute. You have the crochet needles here, you have little binoculars, so I think this is really cute. I'm excited for this. Most of the short stories only look like they're about 20 or so pages, if not shorter than that, maybe anywhere from 15 to 20 pages. So I think this will be pretty good. I think I'm gonna start going ahead and reading this and trying to get myself into the short stories more. So those are the first two. So the used bookstore I went to had amazing deals. They were actually trying to get rid of a lot of stuff because I think they're either moving locations or they're trying to get rid of more books. So they had a section of clearance books that was marked 15 for $2. And you had to get a minimum of 15. So some of these I'm not so sure about. My husband did pick out 2, so I picked out 13 for that deal, and all of these are mysteries. So a lot of them I'm not familiar with the author, I'm not super familiar with the series, but I was just grabbing any cozy mystery I could find, basically, because at that price I'm willing to try them out. So one of the first ones I picked up from the used bookstore was Krista Davis's Murder, She Barked. This is part of the Paws and Claws mystery. Now I love Krista Davis's pen and ink mystery series. This series here, I love her pen and ink mystery series. It's my favorite that she writes. I've also read some of the Domestic Diva series, but I liked it, but not as much as this one. But I've also heard good things about the Paws and Claws mystery series, which involves cats and dogs. And this is actually the first in the series. This one came out in 2013. And what I do like about her books is there's a list of characters in the front, which I find so helpful. I wish more authors did that. I find that to be so good. So in this series, our main character's name is Holly Miller, and basically her life is down in the dumps. So she's recently lost a boyfriend. She has her boyfriend's her ex-boyfriend's flame sniffing around. There's just a lot of problems going on in her life, and then she gets a phone call saying her grandmother is ill or needs her help, and she rushes off to Wagtail Mountain about going back to help her grandmother, basically. And she's also helping out at the Sugar Maple Inn, which is basically a premier inn, but it's also for pet lovers, so people can check in with their pets. However, recently there's been a hit and run accident, and it's looking anything but accidental, so Holly gets involved in the mystery. This is the first one in the series, which is really, really lucky, especially for getting it on clearance like that. And she ends up having a Jack Russell Terrier in the beginning, but she also ends up being adopted by a cat named Twinkletoes when she arrives, and I'm just really excited because I love Krista Davis's writing, so I'm really hopeful that this will be a good series, and I love dogs and cats, so what could be better? Okay, so this next one is the second one in a series. I haven't read this series. I've never read this author, but I'm excited. It's Two Bites Too Many. It's part of the Sarah Blair mystery series by Debra H. Goldstein, and I'm excited. So one, we have cute dog and cat on this. I think this cover is absolutely darling. But basically we have our main character Sarah, who is she's a twin to her sister Emily, and her sister Emily is more successful. She's a professional chef, and Sarah's life isn't looking so hot. She's recently had a really messy divorce. Things aren't going so great for her. However, Emily recently gets she has like a business plan or something, but it's shot down by the mayor of the town. Unfortunately, the mayor is murdered, and everyone turns to look at the twins' mother because their mother is very sharp-tongued and was very vocal about being upset that the business plan was like turned down. And so basically the twin girls, Sarah and Emily, are working together to try to clear their mother's name and try to find out who actually iced the mayor. And this, I just love this cover. I think this is so cute. Like the close-ups of the animal's face, I absolutely love it. So this one was actually a series that some of you guys have recommended to me. It's historical fiction. It sounds really good. It is a cozy series. This is the Murder on Astor Place, a Gaslight mystery. It's actually book 1 in the series by Victoria Thompson. And this takes place, I believe, in the very early 1900s, and Sarah is a midwife in New York City in the tenements, and basically a young girl who she helped deliver her baby ends up being killed. However, the young girl is from a prominent family, and the family doesn't want anyone to look into the murder because they're afraid it'll bring rumors and gossip about the family to light, and so they're afraid of that. However, the sergeant asks Sarah to take a look around anyways, and as she's searching the girl's room, she finds some interesting clues. She also learns that the girl is actually a sister of a family friend, and she starts to delve into the case to try to figure out what happened to her. So this sounds really interesting. I think this cover is absolutely beautiful. How gorgeous is that artwork? This one's in really nice condition too, so that's always a bonus. But I'm very excited for this. I've had this on my TBR for a while, so when I saw this, I snagged it right away. We have another second book in the series. I haven't read the first one, nor am I familiar with the author, but this just sounded really fun. This is part of an Amy's Travel mystery series, so I kind of had to pick it up for that. Plus, I love the travel theme. It's written by H.Y. Conrad, and this is called Travel to Death. It is book 2 in the series, and basically this involves Amy and her mother Fanny, who are a mother-daughter duo who run a travel agency, and they're giving a mystery themed tour in Monte Carlo. And so they have the guests on the tour solving a fictional mystery, a murder, as they're going throughout Monte Carlo, which sounds so much fun. Please sign me up. I want to go on a fictional mystery tour. How much fun is that? But while they're on the tour, they stumble upon the body of the writer who actually wrote the fictional mystery for their tour, and everyone freaks out, of course. So all of a sudden, mother and daughter are teaming up together to solve a real-life mystery and to put their skills to the test after that fictional tour that they were doing, and trying to kind of undercover a bunch of emotional baggage that the person who was killed had and that the killer might have to try to solve the mystery. I think this is so much fun. I love the cover for this with the beautiful cityscape in the background. They have the travel brochures here. I think this is stunning. Even on the back they have little bits of passports and brochures, which I think is so much fun. So I'm excited for this. Let me know if you've read any of these before or if you're familiar with the authors, because I'm definitely not familiar with most of these authors, or I haven't read them yet, so I'm really excited to try some new authors out. So I actually have 3 books that I nabbed from that clearance sale from the same author, so I'm hoping they're good because I haven't read this author before, but they just happen to have a bunch of them, so I was like, okay, let's try it. And the author is M.C. Beaton, and I have Death of a Dentist, Death of a Chimney Sweep, and Death of a Prankster. So this is all part of the Hamish Macbeth mystery series. We have Death of a Prankster, which involves some kind of prankster in an isolated Scottish manor, which, say no more. Give me an isolation, Scottish manor. Everything about that sounds amazing. I love the art on here. That sounded incredible. This one's definitely worse for wear. Part of the cover is actually missing. This is the Death of a Chimney Sweep, but you can still see the original cover art there. And so this one involves our main character, Hamish, who is solving a mystery. Basically, there is a man named Pete Ray, and he is an old-fashioned chimney sweep in the area. And he's really reliable, people enjoy him, until one day a body is found stuffed up a chimney, and everyone immediately suspects Pete because of his job. And he's also missing. So Hamish starts to look around. Unfortunately, Pete's body is shortly after found, And so it doesn't look like he was the one who actually committed the murder, and Hamish now has 2 mysteries on his hands. And I'm really excited. I've been reading a lot of Scottish mysteries recently, and they've been really good, so hopefully these are also good. The last one that's part of the series is Death of a Dentist. Okay, so basically in Death of a Dentist, Hamish is stealing himself because he's about to go to the dentist, and this dentist has a reputation for pulling teeth and providing a cheap but nice set of like dentures, and he doesn't really want to lose his teeth, so he's like, oh gosh, I don't know how this is gonna go. He arrives at the dentist's office to find the dentist dead, and so he then gets swept up with the mystery, and yeah, it just sounded interesting. I believe this is a very, very long series. This one itself came out in 1997, and this is like book 14 in the series. But yeah, look at this huge list. This is the one that's in the Death of Chimney Sweeps. This is the latest of the 3 that I picked out, but this is obviously a massive series. They also wrote Agatha Raisin, the author, so I know that one has some really good reviews. I'm excited to check these out. Hopefully I like them because I picked up 3, but I thought it was a worthwhile choice. They're definitely falling apart a little bit, but we will make do. They sound really fun. Okay, so a couple that I got from the library. These ones are definitely a little bit in better condition. This is actually a classic. This is the only one that I don't think is a mystery that I picked out, and it's called Green Mansions by W.H. Hudson. I thought this book was just stunning. I really love the color green, as you can probably tell from my outfit. So when I saw this, I was like, what is that? And I haven't heard of this, but it's supposed to be one of the best like English novels of the 20th century, so it sounds like it's supposed to be pretty good. The synopsis here is that this is the story of a Venezuelan adventurer who falls in love with the mysterious and elusive Rima, the bird girl who lives in the green mansions of the jungles, and she treats birds and animals of the forest as her family. And the climax involves superstitious natives seeking her destruction as an evil spirit, which sounds pretty intense. Like I said, I'm not really sure. There are some illustrations and stuff in this book. It's really a beautiful book. I'm hoping I'll love this. I haven't read anything by this author before. I've never heard of this novel. Let me know if you have, but I couldn't pass up this book. I thought it was just so incredibly beautiful, and the plot sounded interesting, so I snagged that. I also saw this one by Jenn McKinlay, and I'm actually starting this series this year. That's part of her Hat Shop mystery series. I know my library has the first book in the series, which is called Cloche and Dagger, but that's the only one they have, so I thought, okay, I love Jenn McKinlay's writing. I've read her other series, and I felt pretty comfortable, even though I haven't read book 1 yet, picking up the 3rd in the series, and this is called At the Drop of a Hat. I love the beautiful illustrations on this. It's just so stunning. So this series involves our cousins who are named Scarlett Parker and Vivian Tremont, and they have a fashionable London hat shop called Mim's Whims. And Scarlett, I believe, is American. She's traveled out to London in the first book, and they have a new customer who's a bride-to-be. Her name is Ariana, and she wants the girls to restore her mother's old veil that she wore on her wedding day, and that's a veil that the cousins' grandmother actually made. So they work on restoring that. However, unfortunately, Scarlett goes to consult Ariana about the restoration at her office, and when she goes to Ariana's office, she finds Ariana standing over her boss's dead body. Now, Ariana insists she had nothing to do with the murder and that she just was stunned. She came across the body, and Scarlett and Vivian get onto the case to try to solve the mystery and help Ariana out and, save the bride from all of this tragedy and drama and jail, because she's got a lot more happy things to be focusing on, and that would definitely not be, not good at all. But I think this will be really fun. I love the idea of a Hat Shop mystery series. Like I said, I love Jenn McKinlay's Cupcake mystery series, her Library Lovers mystery series, so I'm really confident this will be a hit for me. A couple more that I got from my library. This is Thin Ice, a mystery by Paige Shelton. I love Paige Shelton's Scottish bookshop mystery series, and I've been meaning to get to her Alaska Wild series. Now, I'm not sure. I don't think this is a cozy mystery necessarily. I think this one is a little bit more of a gripping, traditional mystery, unlike her other one, which is cozy. If you know, let me know. I'll try to put it on screen if I can find out if it's cozy or not. But this one involves Beth Rivers, and she is a thriller writer in the deep, dark wilds of Alaska, and her pen name is Elizabeth Fairchild. She has barely escaped after being kidnapped by a crazed superfan, and she throws herself outside of a speeding van. Unfortunately, she gets a head injury and memory loss. She appears in this remote town of Alaska, and Beth is sure that no one's gonna find her there, which makes her feel better after being kidnapped, of course. When Beth arrives in this town, she discovers that there's this woman named Linda who has committed suicide, but it actually looks like it might be a murder. However, the locals are kind of covering it up, or they're not really sure, like no one's really investigating it properly. So while Beth is awaiting like what she's going to do next and the apprehension of the kidnapper, she decides to look into Linda's murder. She starts to write about it in the local paper, and she, unfortunately, some heat is brought upon Beth and the other people at the halfway house that she's living with. People are starting to turn around and look at them because they're kind of like the outcasts in this small town. No one wants to really look at the people who are like the, you know, people who've been there in the community for a long time. So Beth really needs to work hard now to solve this mystery before she or some of the other people at the halfway house get into trouble for a crime they didn't commit. So this sounds really interesting between the kidnapping element and the plotline for this mystery. I like the idea of the small town kind of just focusing on the outcasts and like pushing any other ideas out of their heads, just because it's an interesting trope. Not when that happens in real life, of course, but it's an interesting trope, and I love Paige Shelton's writing in the Scottish Bookshop Mystery Series, so I'm really excited to read this. Another one I picked up is by Cleo Coyle. Now, she's really well known for her Coffee Shop Mystery Series, which I haven't got to yet, but I definitely want to. But I saw that she had a Haunted Bookshop Mystery Series, and there was a book on sale at the library for it. This is called The Ghost and the Dead Deb. This is book 2 in the series, so it's not too far into the series. I haven't read anything by Cleo Coyle yet, but I've been meaning to, so this is my opportunity right here. So this sounds really interesting. Our main character is Penelope, and she owns a bookshop, and she has a ghost who I guess she can actually talk to in some way, and her ghost is named Jack Shepherd, and he's actually a hard-boiled private investigator, or he was when he was alive at least, and I guess he helped with the first case in this mystery series. Basically, they have an author who comes to like talk about her book in the shop, and she is a true crime novelist. Unfortunately, the author Angel is actually found dead in the same way that the debutante in her book is found murdered, and Penelope and Jack get involved in the case. Jack can't help himself. He's not supposed to, but he can't help himself. And because he feels like this is his, you know, his realm as a ghost to be helping with a true crime novelist murder. Like that's, you know, it's apropos, right? So this one just sounds really interesting. I love the idea of a ghost detective. I think that's an interesting take on it. I love the shoe on the cover. Isn't that just beautiful details? And the first book in the series is supposed to be very charming, funny, and quirky, so I think this will be fun. I really like this cover. I think it's fun with this like frame. I'm really interested in this cover. I think it's very cool. So this is the Dante Club by Matthew Pearl. It's the last one I picked out at my library book sale, and this is actually a thriller, and I love the premise for this. So this thriller takes place in 19th century Boston, and basically there's been a series of really gruesome murders that are based on Dante's Inferno. So like the different levels of like hell basically, and the different ways that people are like tortured and stuff in those. So the murders are based on that in some way, and no ordinary detective is going to be able to solve this because it's a very like just the killer's outwitting everyone basically. But they have this group of gentlemen who are the unlikely sleuths of the Dante Club, and so we have a group of different renowned scholars and like writers and stuff, and they're getting together to try to solve this and to try to outwit the murderer and how they're following Dante's Inferno. This just sounded really interesting to me. The title of this really caught my attention, and I like that this also is a quote from Dan Brown, who wrote the Da Vinci Code, because I think that was I thought that was a very interesting book and a fun movie as well. So I thought this sounded promising. Still have this many books left. This is all from the clearance section at the used bookshop, so we're going to try to do these a little bit faster. I think this one's called Murder Without Reservation. It's a Tony and Pat Pratt mystery. It's by Bernie Lee. This is a creepy cover. Like, look closely, because I didn't catch it when I first looked at it, but oof. I don't like snakes. I don't like snakes. They give me the wiles. I'm sure they're very nice, and they are really interesting creatures, but I don't want them anywhere near me. So this is really interesting. Tony Pratt is a former advertising executive turned successful mystery novelist, and he's helping with casting and location scouting near the scenic Shortfalls Indian Reservation, and this is for Japan's #1 primetime show that's shooting on site in Oregon. And so he's helping out with that. Everything's going okay. They only have like a few more scenes to shoot, and that's when everything goes wrong. A horse and like someone playing a drug dealer, I believe, is found dead, and then Tony has to crash through whitewater rafting to try to save a boy who is drowning. drowning. There's all these different mysterious accidents and just dangerous things that start to happen. So Tony and Pat get involved in the case to try to solve this and to try to protect the people who are involved in the casting and just to get to the bottom of everything. Sounds really interesting. The cover freaks me out, but I really like it. And I just noticed there's actually like a film reel like right behind the noose. There's like a film reel, which I think is a really cool, like, props to the illustrator. That was such a cool idea. Next we have Thread on Arrival, a mainly needlepoint mystery. This is by Leah Waite. Murder has the town tied up in knots. This book involves our main character Angie and her friend Sarah. They're needlepoint partners, and basically there's this man in town named Ike, and he's fallen on hard times. He's living on like disability checks, and he's also collecting bottles to get the like deposit back on that to help like supplement his income basically. And Angie and Sarah are both really excited to see Ike at this like celebration in town. They're excited to see him. Unfortunately, he is stabbed, and they are just flummoxed. They're absolutely shocked. Like, he didn't deserve that. He's a really nice man. And a suspicion falls on this nice young boy, like a teenager who's maybe a little weird, but it falls on this man named Leo. And Angie and Sarah just can't believe it. They think he's a very nice young boy, and they can't really see him being the one who actually attacked Ike. So they start to investigate, and Angie even goes on the same bottle like depositing route that Ike goes on to try to see if he witnessed something he wasn't supposed to, if he has hidden secrets. And they start to uncover and like delve into Ike's life to try to solve the mystery and to clear Leo's name. This just sounded really interesting. I love the cats on the cover. How cute are they? There's a cheese platter, and I just love the beautiful wintry background. It looks like really good. I'll probably save this maybe to read in the fall time or winter time when I'm kind of getting into that snowy mood again. This one looks like a fun historical mystery. This is Death at Wentwater, Cork by Carla Dunn, and this just has a really, really fun cover here. So this involves our main character Daisy, and she is an unflappable flapper and would-be journalist. This takes place in 1923 in England, and she goes on her first writing assignment. Unfortunately, she stumbles across a corpse, of course, for our mystery. So for her first writing assignment, Daisy is going to this like old manor, and she has all these interviews set up with people on the estate. Unfortunately, Lord Stephen ends up being found dead in the like a pond or lake that's on the estate, and the clues point to his death not being accidental. So it looks like someone murdered Lord Stephen, and Daisy, along with Scotland Yard, work together to try to solve the mystery. I love the artwork on this. I think it's so much fun, like her dress and everything. Absolutely so much fun. This sounded like just a really fun time. Next I have Botched for Murder, a Sophie Kimball mystery by J.C. Eaton. This one actually takes place in Arizona, and our main character Sophie, or Fee, is getting dragged into drama at her mom's retirement community. Basically her mom is on this like league for some kind of game with a ball. It's called Bosch, but she's not very good, and she's bringing the rest of the retirement like community that she's part of down. Like, they're not very happy with her performance, and unfortunately there's a lot of drama that starts to go with that, and someone's actually found dead on the course. And at first Myrna, Sophie's mother, thinks that maybe she caused the death by hitting her accidentally with a ball, but when they look closer they realize that there's actually an arrow to her neck, so she was murdered intentionally. So the police start to delve into the case to try to find out who would have hurt this woman, and Sophie gets just dug into this retirement community drama. It sounds really interesting. I think the setting will be nice. This looks like a really good like spring and summer mystery because of all the cacti and like the nice like warm vibes on this cover. Next we have A Good Year for a Corpse by Valerie Woolson, and this is a murder in a wine cellar has a small Connecticut suburb drunk with curiosity. So our main character in this is Susan, and there's this man named Horace in their community who is fabulously wealthy, and all the organizations in town are courting him for his money. And before he's able to make up his mind about who to give his money to, he is found with money stuffed in his mouth, dead. Very dramatic, of course. So it looks like someone is upset with him and how he was choosing to or not to use his money. So she starts to look into the murder. It looks like there were a lot of different suspects for this, and one of the prime suspects is actually the president of Friends of Potted Plants, and they're the prime murder suspect, but Susan's convinced that there's no way this person committed the murder. So she digs into the crime to try to solve it and try to clear the person's name, and also looks into Horace's life and trying to figure out why was he so anxious to get rid of his money so quickly. Like, was there some kind of threat? Was he worried he was going to die? Like, what was going on basically? I thought the cover for this looked fun, and this was just an interest. I like the little blurb. It really caught my attention, so I grabbed that one. Next we have 15 minutes of Flame and Nantucket Candle Maker Mystery. This looks like it's going to be a Halloween mystery because of the jack-o'-lanterns in the like corner of the shop here. And this is written by Kristen Brecher. And Krista Davis has written a little blurb on the front about how she loves the series, so that gave me some promising expectations for this because I love Krista Davis. So this sounds amazing. This takes place during Halloween. Our main character is Stella Wright, and she runs a Nantucket candle shop. And basically her friend inherits this old creaky manor, and her friend decides this will be a perfect place for the haunted house fundraiser the town puts on every year. So they decide to clean it out and make it a haunted house. However, when they're looking through the house, they find the skeleton remains of a Quaker woman on the premises. And they start to dig into the case, and she's just, I mean, obviously this is very unusual to find that in a new house that you're looking at. So Stella starts to ask for help from friends who have a lot of long, like, family history and like ties to the Nantucket community, and she learns about this love triangle from the 18th century that involved two best friends, and they're starting to suspect that maybe the Quaker woman was one of those best friends. And they're starting to wonder, was this like, you know, did the man kill the best friend? Did the other best friend kill her? Was it unrelated to the love triangle? Sounds super interesting. I love a good cold case, and I love a Halloween themed cozy mystery. So I will be saving this for September, October this year. Cannot wait. Next we have one that I think is historical. This is by Anne Purser. It's Terror on Tuesday. So this is the second book in the series. The first book is Murder on Monday, and this is a Lois Mead mystery series. This one looks pretty interesting. So this takes place in the quaint village of Long Fardnand, and our main character Lois Mead is a house cleaner, and she's getting back into that after solving the first mystery in the series, in the first book. And it's a lot of hard work, but she decides to take a break in a nearby chapel to kind of relax after a hard job. Unfortunately, she finds a body in a suit of armor, and I mean that seems like a lot of work to put someone's body in a suit of armor. Like, I mean, I don't even know how you get in a suit of armor to begin with, but that seems like a lot of work. I'm just saying it now. So the detective and inspector in the town convinces Lois to do a little bit of snooping because her job as a house cleaner gives her a lot of access to people's homes to do snooping. Like, it's just kind of made for snooping, and she starts to look into it despite her husband's wishes for her to not get involved. And this just sounds really interesting. I like the setting. I think the suit of armor part really caught my attention. Like I said, I have no idea how you get someone into a suit of armor, but that sounds like a pain in the neck to me. And the adorable dog right here just makes it even better. So that, and then last book, guys, this is by Michael Jean, and this is an Edgar Award-winning author. This is Murder at the Museum of Natural History. So this is a procedural mystery. I don't think this is cozy. It is a Bill Donovan mystery. So this one involves our main character, Lieutenant Bill Donovan. He has a huge passion for archaeology and museums. So he's at this museum's big opening night with a big exhibit that has priceless artifacts from the Silk Road. So that sounds super interesting. Already fascinated. Unfortunately, the archaeologist who was like part of the exhibition is found brutally stabbed with an 1,000-year-old dagger from Kublai Khan, and the suspicion immediately falls on his supermodel wife, who just inherited a fortune. Unfortunately, there's a lot more people who could be the suspect for this because of the means, the motive, and just the money that could be involved with this case. So Bill Donovan starts to look around. He starts to suspect other people. There were also a lot of people in attendance that were kind of suspicious, including Mideast fundamentalists and Russian mobsters who are like an international list of enemies. I'm not sure if they were maybe upset about the exhibition, or like, I'm not sure how it was acquired, maybe something along those lines, but he starts to really follow the money, follow the exhibition, and try to figure out what the motive was. So this sounds really interesting. I haven't read a whole lot of procedurals, but I love the idea of this museum setting. That just sounded super interesting to me, and that makes 13 for me. And the books from the library haul. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was the biggest book haul I've ever done. I feel so excited, so incredibly excited about all of this. So thank you again for everything. Thank you for watching. Please let me know if you've read any of these authors before. Which one should I start with? Do you have one that you absolutely love that I should start with that I have picked out here? Let me know down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I do post new book content, especially mystery books, thriller books, that sort of thing, on my channel regularly every single week. So definitely hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!